Hello, I'd like to welcome you to 10-minute meditative drawing techniques to let go of anxiety, stress, and worries. We'll begin in a moment, and I'm excited about today's session, and I'm really glad that you're here. While we're waiting for others to arrive, when we start the drawing techniques, you'll need several sheets of paper and a couple markers or pencils, so you might want to get those now. Great. And one of the things I really love about working online is that we're all together from all around the world. So I'd love to hear where you're from. If you could just put the town and the country where you're from, I'd love to hear that. That's just kind of magic. Okay. Now, if we haven't met, my name is Jean Kropper, and I've developed a unique approach that blends art and mindfulness, and it's called meditative drawing. In this session, you'll discover how to take charge of your emotional well-being with breath work, drawing exercises, and mindfulness techniques that silence racing thoughts, release strong, uncomfortable emotions, and leave you more calm and positive. And they work even if you're not the least bit artistic, and you'll get to see that. Okay, I'll dive in just a minute. Okay, now, if we haven't met, my name is Jean Kropper, and I've developed a unique approach that blends art and mindfulness, and it's called meditative drawing. In this session, you'll discover how to take charge of your emotional well-being with breathwork, drawing exercises, and mindfulness techniques that silence racing thoughts, release strong, uncomfortable emotions, and leave you more calm and positive. And they work even if you're not the least bit artistic, and you'll see that in today's exercises. And my promise to you today is that I can show you how to get immediate relief for your busy, overthinking brain. If you're an overthinker or find it difficult to switch off, this session is designed for you. And the best part, I can show you how to experience immediate relief with increasing benefits from regular practices of the techniques that I'm going to show you. What I want to share with you today has the potential to be life-changing, and it's worked wonders for my clients. Nancy Guppy, who lost both her parents within 12 months, realized that she could use these techniques that I'm teaching you today to let go of her grief in manageable chunks and not to be overwhelmed. Carrie Harthen, a veteran with PTSD tremors. She found that meditative drawing session calmed her tremor, calling the exercises superb. Dulcie Lupton said, I found it very relaxing. It's like a little mindfulness exercise. And Helen McGuire discovered that she could use the drawing exercises to help with the end of the day relaxation and falling asleep. Now, the 3 simple exercises that I'll show you today are techniques that ordinary people are using to slash stress using a powerful technique called meditative drawing. It silences your mental tornado and turns anxiety into calm energy, even if you can't draw. Now, you might be thinking, what are we talking about here? Is it mindfulness? Is it art therapy? Is it some calming meditation thing? Well, it's none of those and all of them in a way that you haven't seen combined before. What you're about to experience is called meditative drawing. It's a fast, physical method to calm your nervous system without needing to think positive or be the least artistic. Okay, we're going to go on a journey together and transform creativity into calm. Actually, we're going to go on a journey together to transform stress into creativity and calm. We're going to do 3 practical art therapy or meditative drawing exercises so you can experience how this works. And they work even if you feel overwhelmed with stress daily, if art was never your thing at school, or you weren't even good at it. And even if you think you're skeptical about art therapy or you think your stress is too deep. This isn't your typical stress relief method. It's simple, it's odd, surprisingly fun, and incredibly effective at improving your emotional well-being. This works alongside any traditional therapy or medication you may use, and meditative drawing will give you relief even if you've struggled to manage stress before. And even if traditional meditation didn't work for you, it's a powerful, accessible way that suits most everyone. Okay, what we'll go through today. First of all, I'll give you some research, some background to explain why these techniques work, even if you can't draw a stick figure. Your art skills have nothing to do with the success of being involved. The first exercise is is about state change to quiet a busy mind and how that makes meditation easier, even if you suffer from being restless or having a very busy mind. Exercise 2 is release and replace techniques. And these tackle deep-seated emotions without endlessly dragging up past traumas or past memories or issues. Exercise 3 is called Draw Yourself Calm. This is the replace side of it. An end-of-the-day ritual to rewire your nervous system to become more open to joy. And 4 is about rewiring your brain, rewiring your nervous system. And that's the key to unlocking permanent and profound change in your stress levels, sort of breaking the cycle. Okay, so during today's session, you'll gain tools and techniques to take charge of your emotional well-being. That's my goal. Now, we've got an hour together today, and I know that's a commitment on your part. So I'd like to give you a special gift of a recording. So anyone who is here at the end will get a copy for free. I'm doing this to encourage you to stay and so that you'll receive the full value of today's session. It's a recorded meditation called Nervous System Reset, and it's designed specifically for anxieties, fears, and worries. This includes exercises for interrupting an overthinking brain, a yoga nidra grounding exercise, a sound meditation, and breath work. These are all practical exercises that you can use daily to manage your well-being. And if you work with clients, these are skills that you can use with clients. Okay, I'll give you the link to that at the end. So, who's this training for? Well, I'm delivering this for 3 types of people. If you regularly find yourself feeling stressed or overwhelmed and you want a reliable method to flick the switch to calm, you're in the right place. It's for overthinkers who want more than just temporary relief. And this is for you if you need a way to retake control over your emotional well-being. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Now, meditative drawing matters more than ever right now. These skills, well, the world feels more chaotic and more uncertain than it ever has. There's global turmoil, there's nonstop news cycles, there's economic pressures, and a real flood of anxiety that never seems to let up. And it's not just stress anymore, it's the constant noise. Social media outrage, polarizing opinions, left versus right. It's exhausting. We're being pulled in a million directions, constantly reacting, yet rarely having time just to reflect. And for many of us, it feels like there's no off switch. That's why meditative drawing is so important right now. Because when you don't take time out, stress creeps in, and it takes a big toll. It affects your sleep, your focus, your digestion, your relationships, and your entire nervous system. That's why major companies like Google and Nike are investing heavily in meditation and well-being programs to protect their teams from burnout. In fact, 61% of US employers now offer on-site yoga or meditation classes, and that's up from just 22% in 2022. So that's nearly triple in just a few years. Now, these companies could choose any wellness approach, but they're choosing mindfulness and creative practices. And why? Well, because they work. And today I'm sharing the same stress transformation techniques in a way that's simple, it's accessible, and even enjoyable so that you can use them yourself. Okay, so who am I and why should you listen to me? It's a valid question. Well, if we haven't met, my name is Jean Kropper. I'm an internationally published author. I've led creative workshops across the USA, Canada, and Australia for the past 25 years. I've spoken at business conferences like Women with Altitude and led workshops for charities such as Wounded Warriors, who helps people who've been through sexual violence, and Arthritis New South Wales, working with kids and teenagers who are dealing with the pain of arthritis. Anyone needs the skills to care for their well-being. Well, really, everyone. Life is pretty tough otherwise. And I know these techniques work because they worked for me. Before I discovered these techniques, I was in a really dark place. Life had thrown some heavy things my way. My husband had become a volatile alcoholic at the end of a very long marriage, and it had felt unsafe. I had to move out of my own home. I had years of stress and trauma and emotional exhaustion. I was running on empty and trying to keep everything together for my son. These techniques helped me calm the chaos in my mind, and they gave me a lifeline. It helped me rebuild from the inside out. These simple practices help me come back to myself, and they can do the same for you. Now, I started this journey as a way of overcoming my own struggle with post-traumatic stress and with anxiety and insomnia. Towards the end of my 19-year marriage, my husband became a volatile alcoholic, and my son and I moved out of our own home. There were some pretty hard years, and I struggled not understanding what was wrong with me, as PTSD is a very odd mix of symptoms. In addition, I saw the consequences of unchecked mental health in my husband's family. There was a lot of depression, there was alcoholism, and there was 2 suicides. Eventually, I realized I needed to learn effective ways to heal and to manage my own well-being. I worked with a whole series of healing practitioners over 10 years and learned techniques from each of them. And then I did extensive research on my own. So what I'm presenting here is a result of all their wisdom as well as my own research. So now I'm sharing these techniques with others through my meditative drawing workshops. My goal is to help others heal faster than I did, and wanting to make the benefits of art therapy and mindfulness and meditation more accessible. Okay, why meditative drawing? Well, I mean, you're probably thinking this sounds interesting, but is it really going to help with my stress levels? I've tried other things before. So right now I'm going to show you why I believe meditative drawing is the most effective solution for stress management and mental well-being. Reason number 1, decrease stress levels. Here's our first piece of evidence. The U.S. National Library of Medicine did a comprehensive analysis of 37 psychological studies, and they've shown that just 45 minutes of art making decreased levels of the stress hormone cortisol in 75% of those participants. And in those participants, it didn't decrease their stress levels just a little bit. It was an 81% reduction in stress. Now, just think about that for a minute. An 81.1% reduction in stress. So not 8%, not 18%, but an 81% reduction in stress from less than an hour of creative activity. So these aren't small improvements, they're life-changing transformations. Number 2, industry recognition. The healthcare industry has finally taken notice in a big way. 80% of U.S. hospital administrations now invest in arts activities for patients or staff. Why? Because they've seen dramatic improvements in emotional well-being, very tangible results in shorter patient stays, and decreased staff burnout. And hospitals, they only care about one thing, what actually works. And an industry that's laser-focused on real health outcomes, when they adopt these practices at scale, that tells you a lot about their effectiveness. So here's what's happening. Drawing triggers your body's production of what scientists call the happy hormones. So serotonin, the endorphins, and dopamine. Research shows that the creative arts therapy significantly reduce anxiety and depression while improving emotional regulation. When 80% of hospitals use it, you know it does work. Okay, reason number 3, engagement. Here's the thing about traditional meditation. It has a massive dropout rate. Studies show that 70% of people who try meditation give up in the first few weeks. Now, why? Because sitting still with racing thoughts feels frustrating when you're stressed, and it feels like meditation isn't working. But this is where meditative drawing succeeds. It's quite different. Your mind is something engaging to focus on. The fun of just drawing, of doodling, with some guidance, I'll show you. So you naturally slip into that meditative state without the struggle, without the frustration. No fighting your thoughts, no feeling like, well, you're doing it wrong. Just a pen and paper, and then you're there. And it's fun as well. So this is just showing a lot of the differences between traditional meditation and meditative drawing. So there's no pressure to clear your mind. It has an instant calming effect. Just involves the gentle movement of drawing. Keeps your mind and your body engaged. Fits into your day, can be 15 or 20 minutes per session. You can't mess it up because there's guidance, it's clear structure, and it can be emotionally and creatively expressive. So adds a little fun to your day. Excuse me. Okay, reason number 4, unmatched accessibility. What makes meditative so drawing is its accessibility. It can be practiced anywhere since you only need a set of markers and some blank paper. It's not expensive. It's not complicated. There's a lot of wisdom behind it, but the doing of it is very simple. And not only that, meditative drawing has all the benefits of meditation, yet you're not sitting there feeling frustrated. It channels your focus into the drawing, which provides a creative, tangible outlet. And while others struggle with complicated or expensive solutions, you can achieve calm and balance with just a pen and paper and meditative drawing. So you can finally stop stress overwhelming your life. Now the numbers tell the stories. From hospitals to Fortune 500 companies, mindfulness and art-based practices are proving to be game changers for both well-being and performance. Meditative drawing combines the best of these approaches into one simple, accessible practice. So where most methods feel out of reach, you just need pen and paper. And once you've done a workshop and learned the practices, you can go and just do it on your own. Okay, some myths about stress reduction. A lot of people say, hey, meditation doesn't work for me. If you struggled with stress for years, you might think, hey, I've already tried meditation and medication and therapy. Nothing really works for me. Now, it's a perfectly logical conclusion, but meditative drawing is a different element. And just think of Carrie, the veteran with PTSD tremors who found immediate relief. You might discover that this different approach is exactly what your nervous system needs. So you don't need artistic training, and you don't have to be comfortable with traditional meditation to succeed with meditative drawing. You can just bypass your overthinking and you can succeed. Okay. Another misconception is that you need artistic talent. It's like, ooh, meditative drawing. Surely you have to be able to draw. The truth is you don't. Meditative drawing has absolutely nothing to do with artistic skills, and you'll see this in our exercises. The therapeutic benefits come from the process, not from the final product. And in fact, these techniques can work better for logical and analytical minds because they engage both hemispheres of the brain. So when lawyers, IT professionals, and financial analysts join the workshops, they often discover they experience the most dramatic results. Why? Because their busy analytical minds finally get a constructive outlet that bypasses their usual overthinking. So meditative drawing can succeed where others have not. Okay, another myth, is this just another wellness fad? Or, is drawing just a hobby? It's not a therapeutic tool. Well, drawing is a process, and the physical act of drawing activates neural pathways and bypasses the usual patterns of overthinking. That's precisely why it works, and when traditional approaches fail. It's not about creating pretty pictures. You might make pretty pictures, but that's not what it's about. You'll experience that yourself. It's about engaging your nervous system in a process that naturally induces calm. Okay, a lot of people really worry that, like meditation, even if it works, I just won't stick with it. So why would meditative drawing be different? Many people believe serious stress management requires prescription solutions and years of therapy. However, this is a throwback to outdated thinking about mind-body connection. You can succeed, and just because you didn't succeed with meditation, it doesn't mean that you can't succeed with meditative drawing. Because dealing with meditative drawing it's a lot more fun. It's a lot easier. There isn't the frustration of meditation. And just simply by going through the process of it, from research, you can see that the stress hormone cortisol can be reduced by 81.1% in just 45 minutes. So that's not just opinion, it's a biochemical change. And once you've gone through the process of it, you can see that change in yourself. And so it can be something fun to come back to, and it's not something that's a chore. Meditative drawing can quickly become a ritual that you look forward to. Misconception about stress is that my stress is too severe or unique, and I understand that because you can have some pretty severe symptoms when you're dealing with something like anxiety or PTSD. I've been there and I understand, having gone through flashbacks and insomnia. However, the reality is your body doesn't differentiate between the sources of stress when activating your fight or flight response. Whether it's from work pressure, family challenges, or really severe trauma, these techniques engage the universal responses of your nervous system. And that's why they're proven effective, even with the most extreme cases, including military veterans with PTSD and people processing profound grief. Your nervous system responds in universal ways, and these techniques can help people with PTSD as well as other challenges. Okay, now what we're getting into the techniques, the exercises. So what I'm talking about here is state change. And the first exercise is about a step that you take before you begin meditation and going from chaos to calm. And it's essential to shift your mental and emotional state from chaos to calm before meditation. And this initial transformation process prepares your mind and body to be receptive to stress techniques, such as meditation. And that's why we're doing it, to change our state before the practice begins. And it's essential to shift your mental and emotional state from chaos to calm. And this is the missing step that makes meditation finally work. So even if your brain feels like a tornado of thought, it can make a massive difference. So state change is the key to unlocking a deeper calm, and it's a foundation or cornerstone of meditative drawing. Each meditative drawing session starts with intentionally and actively changing your state. And to do this, we use what's called breath work, but in a special way. Now, many of you may already be familiar with breath work. And when I'm working with clients, we usually do a breathing pattern combined with drawing, which is an immediate effect of changing your state. And the first exercise that I want to share is simple yet powerful action that can dramatically improve your meditation and mindfulness practice. Now, this one step just before you begin has the potential to just completely transform your entire experience. It makes meditation and mindfulness a lot more accessible, and so that more people can experience the extraordinary benefits. Okay, I'm just going to have a glass of water. Good. Okay. So meditative drawing can give you all the benefits of meditation without the struggle. That's what makes it different. Okay, so just as a baseline, and I'm going to show you how fast this state change can happen. You don't need to believe in it with breath work. Breath work is actually a physical process, and it only takes about 3.5 minutes. So what I'd love for you to do is just check in with yourself, with your body right now, and see how busy your mind is and what your anxiety or your busyness level is just at the moment. So you can understand the power of changing state. I'd like you to check in before we begin. So here's a table for comparison. So how busy is your mind on a scale of 1 to 10? Do you have racing thoughts? Or 2 to 3 is having a quiet, calm mind with few thoughts, and 7 to 8 is a racing tornado of thoughts. So just how would you rate the busyness of your mind at the moment? And just put that into chat. Thank you. Yeah, I'll just have a look. Good. Thank you. Thank you. And hey, you're also welcome to put comments into chat. Thank you. Okay, we'll go on. So you just grab your markers or your pen or pencil and a few sheets of paper. This is the first of 3 exercises, and we'll do this as part of meditative drawing. It's called square breathing or box breathing, and we'll combine it with drawing to make it more effective. It's simple, and we're going to do this together. And on the materials needed, you'll just need several sheets of blank paper and a couple markers, pens or pencils, doesn't matter which. Now, you might want to get those now if you don't have them, and then we'll dive in and begin. Okay, so this is the simple techniques for stress relief. Now that we understand why these techniques are powerful, we've addressed the common myths that hold people back, I want to share 3 game-changing techniques about transforming stress into creativity and calm. Each of these techniques builds on the previous, and it creates a complete approach that makes stress manageable and accessible and sustainable.
We will draw rows of 5 squares, and just as we do the breathing in, holding, breathing out, and holding, I'll just draw a series of squares. I find the drawing really useful because it gives me something to do with my hands and something to focus on, and it helps me not think about the 17 other things that are going through my head. So that's up to you. If you find it distracting, then you can just do the breathing by itself. That's up to you. Okay, all right. So breathing in, hold, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I'm curious how that went for you. So just check in with yourself again. And how do you feel? Has there been a bit of a change? Do you feel a little calmer? So how would you rate the busyness of your mind at the moment? Has the tornado slowed down in your head? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 2 or 3 as being very quiet thoughts and calm, 7 to 8 as racing thoughts. Just how would you rate the busyness of your mind at the moment? Just put that in chat. I'll have a look. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the notes. Yep. Okay, great. Good. Okay, just to recap, why does this work? Can you see how much more receptive you would be to stress reduction techniques, such as meditation and mindfulness, or in fact, meditative drawing? And can you feel the difference that it's made just in calming your nervous system? So that's the first technique, that we need to change our state before we can work on effective stress management. And the breath work activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and that slows down the heart rate, lowers your blood pressure, slows your breathing, and lowers the levels of stress hormones, adrenaline, and cortisol. This calming is part of meditative drawing, which is why it's accessible. And when we're doing it in the workshops, we do it a little bit longer, so there's a little more dramatic change. Meditative drawing combines the techniques of breath work, of meditation, and the wisdom of mindfulness with an enjoyable creative process to make something new. And this real change begins quickly when you practice these techniques that rewire your nervous system. Okay, exercise number 2. We're moving along here. How to release heavy emotions without getting stuck. And I'd like to share first why most stress management techniques only give you temporary relief. And then I'll show you the exercise on how to unlock stress relief without ignoring deep emotions. Okay, here's what most people don't realize. The stress we're feeling is really just the tip of the iceberg. The tension, the racing thoughts, the overwhelm, that's only the tip. Because beneath the surface, in our subconscious, lies a whole reservoir of old stored trauma, old experiences, and old emotions that continually feed that stress response in a cycle. And this can be held in your body. So you can have a very calm day, but still feel stressed because of all the old stuff. So somehow we need to acknowledge and release some of that reservoir. And doing this is the key to stress release. This is where most stress management approaches get it wrong. Now, if we only focus on positive thinking, it's like putting a fresh coat of paint on a crumbling wall. It's superficial. And when we know that there are deep issues that are behind there that aren't getting dealt with. Now, positive thinking definitely has an effect, and it's certainly a good thing to do, but it's only part of the story. The flip side of that is only focusing on the negative. Sometimes in therapy, people can end up re-traumatizing themselves by focusing all on the past while they're trying to process it. And this can be a problem of some stress reduction approaches. You can either ignore the underlying issues or kind of get stuck in them. That can be like digging up the foundation, but never really rebuilding. So real healing happens when you do a bit of both. It isn't choosing between cultivating the light or addressing the darkness, but about doing both simultaneously. And this is the missing link in stress relief approaches. And that's one thing that meditative drawing does. It's a real breakthrough in the sense that it isn't one, just the light or just the dark. It's about working on both together. Okay. Going into our second technique, this is what I call the release and replace principle. So it's a real game changer for how we approach emotional well-being. This balanced approach addresses both the light and the dark areas of mental health, and that is observing, acknowledging, and releasing negative energy from the body without delving into stories of trauma, as well as learning to shift the focus towards positive well-being. And that's what meditative drawing encompasses. Okay, now we've got 2 more art therapy exercises to explore together. These are quick, powerful exercises. The first one will give you a real insight into what I mean about releasing the dark. Well, we have 2 more art therapy exercises to explore. They're quick, powerful exercises. The first one will give you a real insight into what I mean about releasing the dark. It's called chaos drawing, and it helps you release strong, uncomfortable emotions. Okay, so grab your pens, marker or pencil, and some paper, and we'll dive into technique number 2. And to be most effective, I suggest you choose one emotion to release. Might be anger, resentment, grief, depression, anxiety. And I use this when I'm really wound up on something. And it takes practice to dive into this. So what we're doing now is a taste of this, but it takes time to really sort of learn to go with this and to go deep with this. But we'll have a good taste of this now, and I call it chaos drawing.
In this drawing process, we're releasing a strong, uncomfortable emotion. Now, you don't have to feel. In this drawing process, we're releasing a strong, uncomfortable emotion. Now, you don't have to feel that emotion right now, but I want you to tune in to whatever emotion you choose and just go with thinking about that just for a few minutes. So it could be anger, could be resentment, could be grief, depression, anxiety, fear, whatever it might be that's uncomfortable. And we're just going to take a chunk of that emotion and release it on the page. And we're taking it from being inside our head to externalizing that and making marks on a piece of paper that express that emotion. Okay? Now, in a workshop, we spend longer on this and sort of go into it, and you can use music and all sorts of other things. But right now, we're just going to take a few minutes so you can see what this is like. And you need to make some noise because that's part of involving your body and not just your mind. So we're going to growl or grumble or bark or just some kinds of noises. If you were alone in a house, you might swear your head off or yell at whatever you're angry at. But right now, I'm just going to growl and grumble. So give yourself permission to be a bit ridiculous, have a bit of fun with it, and just take a few minutes to release whatever that strong emotion is. Okay? So I'll show you first, and then you can do it. Okay. So I've filled up my whole page with marks. I want you to have a go and do the same. Okay? So have a bit of fun with it and dive into whatever strong emotion you're choosing. And make some noise. You can put yourself on mute. So. Okay, so just fill your whole page, have a bit of fun with it. And then just pause and come back to yourself and notice what's going on in your body. I find that I go from whatever that emotion is, being sort of locked up in my body, to actually feeling energized and much more alive. And I feel like the blood's coursing through my body, and I feel the oxygen moving through me, and just feel much more alive in a really good way.
Okay, well, that was an adventure, huh? Okay, and I give you credit for diving in and giving it a go. It's an odd process, but it's something that can be very effective for releasing strong emotions. And when you practice it, when you've done it a few times, it's easier to go into the emotion. You can heighten it with music, but it's a very powerful technique that can be used for releasing tough emotions. Okay, now we're going to do the third technique, and this is called drawing calm. And I always pair it with chaos drawing as a second part because it brings you back to yourself and it calms you and centers you back in your body. So it's a chance to slow down, to come back to yourself and tune into calm. And that's a good balance for the other exercise. Okay, I'll show you this one.
This one is about drawing calm. So what would calm look like? To me, that's very flowing lines, nothing jagged. So we want to slow down and want to do some very slow, loopy lines.
So dive in as soon as you're ready.
So we're drawing calm, very slow, loopy lines. We fill just one or two sheets of paper. Very slow lines. See if you can just fill a whole sheet of paper. And again, focus on what you're doing and see if you can make very even lines, curves that are nice and smooth. And you can do loops, curves, and you can hum at the same time. Humming actually calms the nervous system. It's quite interesting. So you can hum, just draw very slowly. See if you can control your hand and do nice, even curves. And this again calms the nervous system, forces you to slow down, but gives your brain something to do. So instead of thinking, you're doing. Fill the whole page. Take a few minutes here. I'm just going to fill the whole page. Allow yourself to be a little bit bored, maybe. That's okay. Just stay with this color on the page. There you go. Okay. And I hope you feel just a little bit calmer by forcing yourself to slow down. Very good.
Okay, so that's the third technique. And now we've done our unique version of square breathing at the first, just to quiet the mind and to change your state. Then we've done chaos drawing to release strong negative emotions. And then we've done drawing calm. So the third part of that to bring us back to ourselves and to just slow us down and come back to the present. So just checking in this last time to understand the power of these exercises on changing state. Just like to ask you to check in with yourself and just say, how busy is your mind now? Just think for a moment, and if you can put that into chat, I'm curious what change you found. Just have a look at your comments. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yep, I appreciate the feedback and just see what changes you're feeling from the exercises. Okay. Okay, just to recap what we've done, here's the thing I'd like you to take away from this. What you've experienced firsthand is how these three simple drawing exercises work together to create lasting change. Now, this isn't about temporary relief. It's about really addressing both sides of the emotional equation, the dark and the light, in a way that feels natural and effortless. What makes meditative drawing unique is that it automatically gives us this balanced approach. Both drawing chaos releases those old stored emotions without diving into the story. And drawing calm creates new neural pathways in your brain, gradually training your nervous system to find that state of calm and peace more easily. And in doing this, you gain the same benefits as meditation while flowing between release and replace in a way that can feel as natural as breathing. So no force, no fear, just diving in. And here, just tackling, this is the exponential effect of regular practice. What we know is that there's an incredible change that takes place in your brain when you practice these techniques on a regular basis. There is the ability to literally change the physiology of your brain with your thoughts. That is to rewire your neural pathways. And this just builds week after week. And I'll explain. When I did some of my own research, I found that until recently, people thought that the brain was fixed from birth and never changed and couldn't change. But, well, they thought that if your brain was damaged, it was assumed that you lost that function in the damaged area forever. However, in the past 20 years, there have been many case studies on people recovering from injuries to the brain. And gradually, doctors and scientists realized that the brain can indeed change. This ability to change is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. Now, big word, I know, but it means that the brain can change and adapt by forming new connections. And that's based on what you learn, what you experience, or what you practice. So what does that mean for us? Well, basically, we all have the ability to change or rewire the neural pathways in our brain. So if you've had PTSD, you've been in crisis, you're wired for crisis and for being hyper alert and always expecting drama and change and difficulty. But you can rewire your neural pathways, and by practicing meditation or mindfulness or meditative drawing, when you do it repeatedly and consistently, you're physically rewiring your nervous system stress response. So you're creating new neural pathways, and you can create those neural highways in the direction of calm instead of the direction of crisis. And that means that change can begin now. So practices like meditative drawing really accelerate this process. And they can make it fun as well, which is an important part of it, because then you can stick with it. And in fact, there have been studies done on the brain of people who meditate regularly and find that the actual patterns in their brains change. So there was a study done at the University of Wisconsin-Madison on Tibetan Buddhist monks using MRI scans on their brains. And the monks had meditated regularly over several years. And it was shown that this regular meditation practice had actually altered the structure and function of their brains through neuroplasticity, which, I mean, is pretty incredible, really. And they became less reactive to emotional disturbance. They had a better ability to concentrate. And this was actually visible in the scans. So in essence, their meditation had rewired their brains to better handle stress. It improved their focus. They became calmer and more grounded. And also, it was very interesting because these changes weren't just temporary, they were long-term. So this long-term meditation resulted in lasting improvements in brain function and well-being. So the takeaway here is that when you stick with these practices, when you find a practice you enjoy and you can keep doing, incredible changes happen. Your neural pathways are gradually rewired for calm, and life becomes easier to manage. So when I'm working with participants, we find that even small, regular changes have exponential effects. They tell me that within a couple of weeks, they've got an improved ability to focus, that they've got far more clarity, less racing thoughts, and they're finding that they're less reactive and less likely to just dwell on stuff, sort of get thoughts stuck in their head. And it doesn't take a lot of work. I'm talking about something as simple as meditated or guiding mindfulness or meditative drawing a couple times each week. So even these small regular changes can have really big exponential effects. And this doesn't require special talents, lots of time, or lots of money. And because meditative drawing is so easy and accessible, you'll be able to stick with it so you get the results. This means you get through all those long-term benefits, the rewiring of your nervous system over time without all the frustration, and the process of getting there is satisfying and enjoyable. And these are all comments from my pilot workshop in meditative drawing. And it was just really heartening to see these very specific changes that came from regular practice. Okay, so most people can't meditate because of racing thoughts and restlessness. But when we use breath work with drawing before we begin, we calm the nervous system and activates the body's relaxation response. And that's why meditative drawing is so easy to start and very easy to stick with. You're rewiring your nervous system, and you can build more skills for natural emotional balance. And just to recap, in Secret One or in Technique One, we discovered that most people struggle with meditation because of racing thoughts and restlessness, making it really hard to stick with traditional meditation. But a meditative drawing is quite different. The real game changer was using breath work combined with drawing before you begin can physically calm the nervous system, and that activates the parasympathetic nervous response, lowering stress hormones and heart rate. And that's why meditative drawing is so accessible. It builds a state of change right into the process, making meditation easy to start and easy to stick with. So it's got all those strong benefits. Okay, and when we got to technique number 2, when we were going into chaos drawing, we learned about the release and replace principle. We discovered that stress is like an iceberg and that what we feel on the surface is just the tip. But the deeper stored emotions, the old trauma underneath, keeps feeding what we're feeling during the day. So it's important to release some of that. And that most approaches either ignore these emotions or get kind of stuck processing them. But the game changer is through chaos drawing and drawing calm, we can address both simultaneously. You can release in chaos drawing the tough emotions without getting trapped in the stories, while drawing calm creates new pathways for peace. Now I've got a question for you. After experiencing all these techniques firsthand, I want to check in with something important. How would your life change if you could access this state of calm whenever you needed it? If you could just tune into that kind of calm regularly, how would that make your life different? Now, not just doing a webinar, but any time that stress starts to take over. And yeah, in what we went into in Secret 3 and in technique number 3, we learned about regular practice and how your brain can physically change. So meditative drawing makes this accessible, makes it fun, makes it emotionally safe because you can dive into an emotion, but then come back from it. Now, we've all got 2 paths to go forward from here. You can continue struggling alone with stress, trying the meditation apps, reading self-help books that might sit half finished on your bedside table, or spending money on therapies that may only provide temporary relief. Or you can join me on a guided journey that combines everything you've just experienced into a complete system that actually works, and even more for people who've been not able to meditate or draw before. This really opens up possibilities for you. And this works very well for overthinkers, and it combines the drawing and the meditation and the mindfulness in a way that's fun and it's guided. So with your permission, I'd love to just tell you a bit about the program and just check in that that's okay, but share about the meditative drawing program and what's possible for you. So what if you could master these techniques and really transform your relationship with stress permanently? So I'd like to introduce the Meditative Drawing Program, and it's a 30-day guided program for overthinkers, anxious minds, and anyone ready to take back control from stress. And it's an online program, and there's a whole mix of techniques built within it to give you support. And I'm really excited to introduce this. It's a transformative 30-day journey, especially crafted for overthinkers and those struggling with anxiety, stress, and racing thoughts. It's not just another meditation program, it's a complete system with some powerful techniques just like what you've experienced. And over 30 days, it rewires your nervous system for lasting calm. And even if you've never drawn more than a stick figure or struggled to sit still for traditional meditation, this program was designed specifically for you. And that's you've seen with today's exercises. So here's exactly how you'll transform your relationship with stress over the next 4 weeks. We begin with acknowledgement. Begin by creating your personal stress baseline and introducing foundational techniques that start rewiring your nervous system from day one. You'll experience immediate relief during our first live session as we practice mugs and marks, a simple drawing exercise that instantly calms racing thoughts. In week 2 is awareness. Deepen your practice with circles and a grid, a powerful technique that creates a flow state even during your most stressful moments. You may notice shifts in your sleep quality and ability to handle everyday tensions. Many participants report this week when their family first noticed the change in them. And then week 3 is a sense of empowerment. This is where transformation accelerates. Our Chaos to Calm live drawing session teaches you to process difficult emotions without getting stuck. You'll master advanced breathwork techniques that activate your parasympathetic nervous system and gives you a reliable off switch for anxiety. So it gives you back control. In week 4, mastery, we now cement your neural pathways with our flow interrupted session. The final week integrates everything that you've learned, and you'll develop personalized practices that work specifically for your unique stress patterns. This is where temporary improvement moves into permanent change. It's a complete transformation system. And when you join today, you'll receive immediate access to the full meditative drawing program. And that includes, I'll just go through all the elements of it, your personal creative wellness call. And we start with a one-on-one Zoom session where I personally help you identify your unique stress patterns and point out the elements of the program that will be most helpful for your needs. This alone ensures you get maximum results from every minute that you invest. That's valued at $225. Next, there's 4 live weekly meditative drawing sessions, and this is where you get the real energy of the group. And we have 75 minutes of guided practice where we lead you through the transformative drawing exercises in real time. And these sessions are where the magic happens, where theory becomes physical change in your nervous system. We cheer each other on. Those are really lovely, where people from around the world come together to draw, valued at $900. There's comprehensive portal access. So between live sessions, you'll have 24/7 access to step-by-step video tutorials, guided exercises, and resources to support your daily practice. This ensures you're never left wondering what to do next, and that's included in your membership. Comprehensive drawing worksheets with inspiration, examples, and instructions. I've created 4 specialized worksheets that pair with the live sessions that make it impossible to do it wrong. And even if you've never drawn before, these templates give you creative ideas and guide you in the drawing exercise that activate calm in your nervous system. And if you're arty already, they'll give you new ideas to play with, and valued at $480. Stress reduction breathwork coaching, you'll receive the details of powerful breathing techniques, each demonstrated in clear, step-by-step videos that you can follow anytime, anywhere. These techniques are the same ones used by elite military units, experienced yogis, and top executives to maintain calm under extreme pressure. And that's valued at $350. 5 specialized grounding exercises are next. From Ladybug Hug to Windshield Wiper, these quick 5-minute video guides help you get out of your head and bring you back to the present. And they're particularly good for interrupting overwhelm. And I found they personally made a huge difference. If I do these short little exercises sometime in the afternoon, it makes a huge difference to how I feel in the evening. So they're perfect for using at your desk or at a family gathering. Simple, short exercises, but make a big difference to how you feel at the end of the day. And then there's a curated healing resource library. So access my collection of leading books on healing that deepen your understanding of how and why these techniques create such profound changes. You can look at the research that I've looked at and a lot of the sources that I have drawn these exercises from. And also on a lighter side, the list includes novels and memoirs sharing healing journeys and insights in story form. And I found those very inspiring because it's really reassuring to hear the stories of successful people and find out what they actually went through to get where they are today. And it can be quite surprising and moving. There's 2 visual meditations, so you can experience mindfulness on guided journeys through forests and the Australian rainforest settings. One's from the Daintree rainforest. Now, these are specially designed to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and deepen your practice and help you learn the skills of mindfulness so that you can continue on your own. And you also get 6 months of continuous access, so everything remains available for a full 6 months, allowing you to revisit any session or resource as often as needed to strengthen your practice. And that's valued at $500. Now, when you add everything up, the real value of this complete systems comes to over $3,675. Now, when this program officially launches to the public next month, it will be valued at $997, which is still 30% less than the total value. But because you're here today participating in this special webinar, you won't pay $997, and you won't even pay half that at $497. For webinar participants only, you can join the complete meditative drawing program for just $199. That's less than the cost of a single therapy session for a complete system that can transform your relationship with stress permanently. Now, there's limited availability, and I need to be transparent with you about that because this program includes personal attention and live sessions. So I must limit the enrollment to just 25 participants. Now, this ensures everyone receives the support and guidance that they need to succeed. And in our past sessions, these spots filled completely within 48 hours. So additionally, the special webinar pricing of $199, and then after that, the price returns to $997. You might be wondering if this will really work for you. Let me share some recent comments from participants. Nuala Diamatopoulos is a psychotherapist and an artist in Australia, and she said, "Hey, amazing, brilliant workshop. Enjoyed it thoroughly. It's very interesting. Such a simple technique, but such a powerful impact on our nervous system." Soraya Raju said, "The drawing is truly a meditative experience." And Helen McGuire from Australia, "When I can't get to sleep at night, I do some of these drawings. It's wonderful. Thanks for the opportunity." And Carrie Harthen, a veteran with PTSD who struggles with tremors, she said, "The meditative drawing session has calmed the tremor. It's wonderful. Clearly, you've developed a craft here that's superb, really helpful to people." And Dulcie Lupton, "I found it very relaxing. It's like a little mindfulness exercise. I'd recommend it definitely." And even Barbara Clark from California, who was skeptical at first. "I had fun with this. I realized the drawing, it can be sloppy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a great practice, and I just adore it. I do it quite a bit, and it's very valuable. I believe so strongly in this program that I'm removing all risk for you with an unconditional guarantee. I believe so strongly in this program that I'm removing all risk for you with my unconditional guarantee. Join us today, experience the full program for 14 days. And if you don't feel it's making a significant difference in your stress levels and overall well-being, simply let me know. I'll refund your entire investments, no questions asked. I can offer this guarantee because I've seen these techniques work for many people, from veterans with PTSD to busy parents, from executives to creative professionals. The science is clear and the results speak for themselves. So if you're ready to transform your relationship with stress, here's what to do right now. Scan the QR code with your phone and just join now. and I'll also send the link in an email afterwards. You'll have immediate members access to the members area, and you can schedule your creative wellness call and begin your journey to lasting calm today. And if you're ready to transform your relationship with stress right now, here's what you do. Click the sign up button that appears on the screen. Fill your details in the secure registration form. You can enter the promotional code CALM24 at the checkout to lock in your special pricing and complete your payment. Major credit cards are accepted. Check your email for an immediate access. The instructions will come, and within minutes, you'll receive your login details and can begin exploring the program, including scheduling your personal creative wellness call. So that's what the program looks like when you begin. And there's the code, the QR code again, so that you can access that. Wonderful. Okay, now, at the beginning, I promised you a complimentary gift for staying to the end, and this is it now. So you can scan the QR code, and you'll receive the link to the free meditation for a nervous system reset. Okay, and I'll just leave you with the meditative drawing, what the workshop looks like when you begin, and share the QR code again. Wonderful. Okay, well, I hope you got a lot of value from that. I'd be glad to see you on the course. And please stick around. I'd be glad to have some comments and some feedback about what the exercises were like for you. Okay, very good. Okay, so please go ahead, and I'd be curious to hear what that was like for you. Olu, do you want to speak up?
When I was working on that last bit, the part about drawing to calm, I think it was. That's my absolutely favorite one, and I'm going to be doing a lot of that.
Yes.
Because why that was the case was because on paper with my marker, I could flow.
Mm,
It felt like I was falling, freely.
mm,
I did a lot of loops, so it was as if I was letting go of tension. That was how it felt for me.
mm,
So, for someone who's been practicing meditation for decades now,
mm,
for me to be able to achieve that without having to sit in a very quiet place where there's no interference and no interruption, and just achieve that in seconds,
mm,
that's fascinating for me. And I'm going to be sharing with my kids for sure.
mm. Oh, good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some of these sessions with during COVID, and I had some parents with kids at the table, and the kids were at the table because they were home during COVID, and the parents couldn't get out of it. But it worked well because these were techniques that kids could watch their parents doing, and they could join in if they wanted. They weren't anything scary. There wasn't a lot of psychological language, and it's a practice that the kids could learn. I mean, my son does chaos drawing. Sometimes he'll come home from work, being all frustrated and upset, and he'll say, "Mom, where's that recording? I want to do that drawing thing." And he'll disappear in his room for 20 minutes and go off and doing some chaos drawing, and then he'll do the drawing calm. And I'm really glad to give him a technique that he can use, for the next 40 years. And yet it's simple, it's cheap, you don't need a practitioner, and it's something that at first it just feels a bit superficial, but you can learn to allow yourself to go into the emotion and dive into that and allow yourself to feel. And you don't necessarily need to get into any story of what, the trauma was or what the distress was. You may, but you don't need to necessarily. And it's a way of externalizing distress. And it's kind of satisfying afterwards to look at the drawings and see, what does that fear or distress or depression or rage look like? And you go, wow, that's really kind of a cool pattern. And then you look at the calm and go, yeah, okay, that's different. And it allows you to take something that's subconscious and take it out of your head and get it on paper in a way that's, very constructive. Yeah. Jenny, would you like to add anything?
I would like to share this with my family if that's okay, and do it as like a family lesson and invite
Mm,
however many want to
yes.
participate. I have kids from 2 to 18 years,
Mm,
and but I'm particularly thinking about it as a technique that my husband might be interested in.
mm. Yeah. 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 And you can do it, in short bursts. You can repeat it. You can also add music with it. I mean, sometimes if I've, got a lot going on, but I'm having a hard time sort of tuning in, I can choose, a hard rock song for rage or, a poignant song for grief, and it helps me go into that, and then I can move into making those marks to do the work I want to do. Yeah. Okay. And would anyone else? I see a lot of people who don't have the video cameras on, but would you like to say anything? You're welcome to unmute yourself and I do sessions for conferences. I do sessions for teachers. I've worked with charities, like with Arthritis New South Wales. They had a conference once a year with kids who were dealing with arthritis. They're dealing with a lot of pain, and did some sessions with them. And they were doing things like drawing anxiety. What does anxiety look like? And just making marks on a page. And it's a very good way of allowing them to release what they're carrying inside so that it's not an ongoing burden. So, yeah. And Philip, are you there? Would you like to make any comments? So, yeah. And Philip, are you there? Would you like to make any comments?
Yeah, I was just sending you a chat message, Jean,
Oh, okay. Yep.
to say thanks, but I've got to go.
Yep.
But Jean, I think I met you some years back at AmCham, so I might reach out to you there. So
Sure.
thank you very much, but I've got to run and appreciate that.
Sure, that's just fine. Yep, I remember.
Okay.
AmCham meetings. Yep. Very good. Yes.
All right. All the best. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah. And all these exercises are things that, can be done on an ongoing basis. And the workshop incorporates all these techniques, and we develop them and spend a bit more time on them so that you get the richness of each of the techniques within the workshop. Oh, and Kareth, where are you in the world?
I'm in Dallas, Texas right now, or Frisco.
Ah, okay. Yes. Yep. Yep. I was passed through Houston on my last US trip, but
Gotcha. But my in-laws are in Australia.
Oh, okay. Oh, goodness. Well, I hope you come visit sometime.
That's the plan.
And Olu, where are you?
I'm in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay. I think you're my first visitor from Lagos. Okay. Yep.
Awesome.
I've,
Awesome.
I've had visitors from Israel and South Africa, but never from Lagos. And I must admit, I'll look it up on the map and learn a bit more. So thank
Cool.
you.
You're welcome.
I've lived in 5 countries, and I'm always curious about other places in the world. So yeah. Okay, well, thanks very much. I'm going to sign off for today, and the worksheet gives you my email. So if you've got any questions or comments, I'm very glad to hear from you. Thanks very much.